Hi everybody, welcome along. Another absolutely beautiful example here. This is a bike we've got in stock for sale at the moment at Los Veloces, so please go to the website, look at more details if you're interested. But I just wanted to share it with you as usual on the channel. Now this is a 2000 model factory built RS racing Ducati, ridden by Ex Mackenzie in British Superbikes. Lovely machine. As it kind of left the track, which is really unusual. It's got all its data logging, it's got its frame number, it's got all its correct bits, it's got everything with it. It's even got a set of Niles leathers, and this bike is quite well known. It was on display at Bewley Motor Museum for a little while, and so we've actually got the card that was with it at Bewley, which gives you a few details about the bike. It's signed by Niall on the tank, on the tailpiece, and it's just lovely. It's very rare to get a race bike in this sort of condition with this provenance and with all its correct bits and bobs like that. Now Niall lives quite locally, and I've spoken to him in the past and stuff, and it's quite well known. He struggled with the Ducati. He'd always ridden sort of GP bikes and four-cylinder machines where you had to rev them harder, and of course the Ducati you could short shift and load up and use the torque and things, and he struggled to adapt his style to it. John Hackett used to build the engines at the time, and he said to me you could always tell if it was one of Niall's engines because it was completely worn out when he took it to pieces, because he used to rev them so much harder than the other riders. And so nice little bit of sort of local history, interesting bike, lovely thing. Now this is the triple injector RS and the 2000. It's before 2001 they went to radial mount calipers, and so this is the last of the sort of standard style forks. So we've got the MF3 ECU, and incredibly unusually this bike has got the Morelli DAS4 data logging as well, and it's even got the little sort of optical pickup that sits on the side and picks up the beacon at the side of the track. I've never seen a bike as complete as this that's got all of those electronic bits. They were so expensive and so rare at the time, everybody took them off to use onto different bikes and things like that. So the fact this has got a full complement of parts is just absolutely lovely. I personally really like the orange. I think it looks great on the Ducati, and it's one of my favourite liveries, and I remember watching these racing, and of course they were very successful as a team, and it's a really well-known livery and a lovely bit. There's some nice details on here with the history of it and things. This got a podium in BSB and finished 5th in the championship with 200 points. So you know, it's all quite well known and documented, and nice bike. Equally, this helps me out with a few specs if you want to get a little bit nerdy with it. This will produce 165 brake horsepower at 12,000 revs. It's 107 Newton meters of torque. And it comes in at 162 kilos. So compared to your road bike at the time, this was pushing out some pretty impressive power. Of course, like all RSs, it's got the long magnesium swinging arm, magnesium wheels, the wider track forks, the bigger carbon tank, the bigger air tubes, the bigger injectors, and all that sort of stuff. I always find it fascinating when you look at this as a glance, it looks like a 996, but actually when we take the bodywork off in a moment and you see some of the stuff that goes on underneath, it's completely different to your road bike. As I've said in the past, that really the components that get shared between the road bike and the race bike are a handful. It's sort of crankcases. I think the rear brake master cylinder was always a famous one, and the rear brake master cylinder bracket, and that's about it. The frames were built in a different department, and they were TIG welded instead of MIG welded. The rest of the engine was obviously unique, gearbox, crank, rods and this and that and the other, big carbon airbox and all sorts of things, and a lot of people refer to these as kind of the real superbikes. This is the carbon airbox era, as it's become known. Later superbikes had to retain a lot more of the standard road going components and weren't nearly as sort of full factory as these machines. So without further ado, I'll whip all the bodywork off and show you what's going on underneath, because that's where it gets exciting. Okay, so we got the bike completely stripped down now, and we can see what's going on underneath. I suppose if we start at the back here, you've got this huge big crankcase breather box that runs down under the seat. There's 2 compartments, then it runs back into the airbox, and there's a little reed block on the end there. Big 57mm exhaust system, much bigger than your road going machine. You can see in the back there the sort of mustard colour of the magnesium long swing arm. Little racing caliper underneath the bottom there, and they've even got a floating rear disc as well. Tri-slipper clutch, as you would imagine. Little carbon carbon battery box there. Extended deeper oil cooler over the road one, and you've got the extended radiator on the front there too. Lovely big pair of Öhlins and some quality Brembo calipers at the front too. Here we go in the electronics side. We've got the MF3 ECU, and then hidden inside here, you can just about make out the yellow label there. That's the data login box, and you see the big cable on the top. If I can find it for you, there you go. It goes into the data login box there. And here is the optical pickup for the lap timer as well. And of course, all these electronics look pretty cumbersome and technical now compared to all the stuff that they run these days with the CAN bus and stuff. But this was absolutely cutting edge. This was full factory. This was sort of GP technology in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. And so it's very, very different to anything that you were seeing on a road bike. And to have sort of data acquisition and data login and things like that, and to be able to map and adjust and do a trackside was pretty phenomenal stuff back then, and very, very technical. Well, these top teams were running these factory bikes, and they were very, very special machines. So in the airbox here, this is probably my favourite part. You've got these huge, big, sort of 60mm throttle bodies, and you've got the shower form injector on the top there, and then you've got one injector in the side there, and another injector in the side there. So you've got 3 injectors per cylinder. Now, in the 2001 model, they actually went to just one shower form injector over the top. And locally, Ray Stringer, the crew chief of the sort of Revy Red Bull team at the time, was convinced that he could get more power and better usability with this triple injector system. So he took the shower form system off the 2001 bikes and put the triple injector system on, because he thought it worked better and was more usable, certainly for the UK circuits anyway, where you need more drive off the bottom and things, and it gave more power lower down. But just wonderful to see. What a setup, what a system, huge throttle bodies. You could literally lose small children down there. They're phenomenal. Nice Morelli dash up the top, all the things you'd expect to see, It's just a beautiful, beautiful machine, and really, really pleased to have it here.